How's it going? Thank you so much for tuning in and joining me live. We're live. And so if you are watching on YouTube, we had we don't know where it's coming from, but somehow the mic was on, but we didn't know it was on. And we all literally were like dying of laughter because we're going through like checklists, check that, make sure all these things are good. And all I could think of was, thank God I didn't have to go to the bathroom. So if you were watching on YouTube or are live with me on YouTube, you'll see we started a new feed. Hopefully you're there. If you're on Facebook, you're like, I missed all of that. We don't know where it was coming from, but it's okay. That's part of being live, right? So I just wanted to give you a little backstory to why we were all laughing. And I was trying desperately to compose myself as the countdown was coming to an end. But we're here, we made it. So tonight I am making an asymmetrical winter wreath. It is crazy to think that winter is like just around the corner, but it is. Next week is the last week of October, and I really wanted to make a wreath that would not only be great for the holidays, but also last well past Christmas. So something that you can use and keep up into the winter months and reuse year after year. I've made a live version of this before with real greens. Tonight we are using all faux greens, thanks to A Floral, who sponsored this workshop. All of the greens tonight that I have are from them that I got to handpick myself. So these are greens that literally are my favorite. When I shop at A Floral, these are the ones that I pick. So I'm so excited that they collaborated with me and sponsored this workshop so that now I can show you kind of my favorite greens and why as we make this wreath. So I'm going to do just a quick check-in because I love to do that, and just to see who's hanging out with me. I hope you guys are all giggling and laughing and joining me as we are just kicking off this live event. Thank you so much again just for tuning in. I know that, Thursday evening, depending on where you are in the country, isn't always the best fit, but I love to be able to create something live with you. It just offers a tutorial in a different way, something different than photos do and a step-by-step blog post you can kind of see in real time. So we've got our setup and I'm ready to get started. Are you ready to get started? All right, so first I have this 18-inch Grapevine wreath. You can get these pretty much at any craft store, Amazon, let's see, Joann Fabrics, Michael's, Hobby Lobby, any craft store like that will have this wreath. But just so you know, this is an 18-inch size, perfect for a front door, perfect for inside, over a fireplace, on top of your mantle, hung over a mirror, anything like that. All right, then I have a variety of different green stems. So we do have all of the stems linked in the show notes so that you can actually see what they are, click on them if you're interested in getting some for yourself, if you want to duplicate and make this own wreath for yourself at home. But I'm going to kind of give you a rundown on what I'm using. So the first thing I have is it's a 28-inch stem, Cedar Greenery stem. So if you go to A Floral's website or see in the notes, this one is considered a 28-inch Cedar Greenery stem. And the reason why I love this one, you can already see as I'm like shaking it, is it has such a natural movement to it that you think it's real. It has a very realistic touch to it. And it just, the way the branches are on it, it just kind of flows and goes naturally, just like real wood. Then the next one I grabbed actually is this Faux Juniper branch. It has tiny little mini pine cones in it. And I love that kind of natural touch. Again, it's a real touch. So none of these are silk. They all have kind of that real touch, rubbery latex feel to them. And you really can see the quality in person. Like, they look real. So when you make your wreath, nobody's really going to know that it's not real, but you will, because it won't dry out. Next up, I have a variety of eucalyptus because I think you guys know I love eucalyptus. So I have some seeded eucalyptus here. And then I also have some silver dollar eucalyptus here. And the thing that I love about even the eucalyptus from A Floral is the wires go all the way to the end. So you can really bend the branches how you want and the little petals. for a very natural kind of realistic spray. So when they come, they're actually pretty tight together from the packaging. And so I just opened this up and kind of branched it out a little bit so that it has more of a natural look to it. But each individual leaf has a wire in it, so you can bend it and make it look how natural you want it to. All right, then I have some of these white cranberries. And again, they all have wires going all the way through them. The white, of course, I love for winter. It's a nice pop against the green. And this is just kind of a seasonal berry, seasonal thing that you would see naturally in winter anyways. You'll notice that I'm working with neutrals because I think you all know I'm a neutral loving girl. You can really mix and match your greenery however you like. Since I'm working with neutrals and mostly greens, I'm going for branches that are all a little bit different in shape and texture and size. So that's really going to give me the variety of depth once my wreath is assembled. And then last up I have are these little cedar picks. So these are great too, even for like little vases. And again, each branch is totally bendable, all wire throughout. Feel free, if you have any questions along the way, to shout them out. If I miss it, I will be sure to come back and answer them in the comments after. I do have some friends here helping me out, but please feel free to ask any questions on the wreath. All right, so I also have a fun surprise for you at the end of making this wreath. So please stay tuned until the end so you don't miss what the surprise is. But to get started, I'm going to go with, I'm going to start with this faux cedar. So the cedar kind of branch here, because I like the way it just kind of has a natural hang to it. And I want to basically create, with an asymmetrical wreath, you actually leave a portion of the wreath open. You probably remember that if you saw my fall wreath tutorial, that was an asymmetrical wreath. And basically we create like a half semicircle with our first couple of stems. So to get started, I'm just gonna tuck in my first stem here, just right into the grapevine wreath. And I just make sure it's nice and secure. One of the reasons, there's two reasons I like using a grapevine wreath for an asymmetrical wreath. One is that the floral stems, whether you're using real or faux, the grapevine just holds it really secure. So you really don't ever need floral wire. I do have some floral wire and my wire cutters just in case, but I can usually get them to hold into the wreath pretty well. And then secondly, for the exposed part, it just has a really nice natural look, which is another bonus if you're using faux stems to help your wreath look more real. All right, so I'm kind of creating like a half moon with these first two picks. And don't worry too much about placement, but this is really going to be like the outer frame, just like in my floral arrangements where I kind of start on the outside and kind of form that outside rim and then work my way in. I do the same thing with my wreath. So I have a good distance from the ends of these two of the grapevine wreath showing. And then I can always come back to and adjust how the greens are sprayed. So then I already actually pre-cut some of these picks so that you can see I really can get a far way with just using one pick. So I got all of these pieces. I got 3 pieces just from using this one pick. And I cut where it splits naturally. So I do this with my real greenery, but you can just slightly pull it apart and where you want to cut basically right where that V is, right there. So that would give me my first piece, and then I'm going to come down a little bit more, and I'm going to get as close as I can to the base of where that branch comes out, and I'm going to cut there again. So that gives me 3 different picks to work with. And because of the size of this wreath, I don't really think I'm going to need much more. So I'm going to tuck in my next greenery stem. And I'm just staggering down slightly. So I want to see, I know I'm going to tuck in some of the eucalyptus leaves. So I'm basically where the base of the first stem is, that's where I'm overlapping with my next stem. And my computer froze, so if you see any questions pop up, just let me know. Again, there really isn't any wrong way to do this. I think sometimes a lot of it, I think you'll be surprised if you just start how quickly wreaths can come together. And I always just like to make sure that I have a good variety, that I'm evenly spacing out my greens so that I don't have too much of the same greenery stacked on top of each other, because that gives it a nice overall variety. If you get stuck too, another nice thing is to kind of prop your wreath up and then just take a step back and say visually, okay, how do I want this like proportioned, how do I want the proportion of this arrangement to look? That always helps me see where the balance needs to be. If I'm too heavy-handed in one area and a little too sparse in another area. If this is your first time making a wreath, or maybe you don't feel as confident in it, I always recommend just kind of holding it up or propping it up, taking a look at it so that you can make sure that you're staggering your picks the way you want them to be. And you'll know, it'll feel right for you. So I'm going to just make sure that this one is nice and secure. Doesn't feel like it's going anywhere, and I'll kind of show you where we're at. So this is just, again, simple, basic start. So now I want to add in a little variety in my greens. So I'm going to use some of the Silver Dollar Eucalyptus first. And like I said, I've already kind of fanned most of this out. And I'm going to place it about halfway in between my cedar and my juniper. And the fun thing with Faux is you can really bend the stems the way you want them to go. Sometimes natural stems don't like to bend that much, or they'll snap and break. But with Faux, you can really manipulate the way this looks based off of how the stems are placed in. So I always just try to make sure that however I'm bending my leaves, they aren't perfect, because we all know in nature nothing's really perfect.
Somebody came on lane one and they want to know where you get your greenery from.
So all of my favorite place to go to is A Floral. They're online at afloral.com. You can find them on Pinterest and Instagram. But I have been using them for years, and honestly, it's the consistency. Every single time I order stuff from them, the quality is amazing. And so I feel so lucky tonight that they actually provided the greens for this wreath making tutorial. So it's super fun to work with a brand that I was already purchasing from, already using their product. But again, it's because of the realistic quality that their pieces have. That's what I love. I don't feel like I can really find that anywhere else, or at least not here in New Hampshire. So when I'm placing in kind of like my secondary greens, if you will, I literally just kind of copy the same. If you'll notice, like my first greens, I had one here, and then I kind of filled in a little bit with this juniper. But then as I'm coming in with the eucalyptus, which is kind of my secondary green, I'm just kind of evenly placing them on each side. It's kind of a little hack, if you will, but I've already got one here and one here, so then I'm going to place one more in the middle here. And for anyone that is coming on late, you might have missed it, but I do have all the greens linked in the description of under the video, under the live. I'm going to go a little bit more this way. And again, this is where working with Faux comes in handy, because I can just manipulate it the way I want to. I can even spread it out a little bit more and have some going. There's no way I could do that if this was real. So now that I have my Silver Dollar eucalyptus placed, I'm going to work with my seeded eucalyptus stem. And actually, I forgot I had some already clipped on the side. Less fumbling. What if you ever are working with the same type of greens, like how these wintry looking greens, I always try to go for 2 variations. So I have the cedar here, the juniper here. With the eucalyptus, I have silver dollar, which is kind of like the wider leaf, and then the seeded eucalyptus, which is kind of a more narrow, longer leaf. Let's see. Sometimes you can overthink placement, which I might be doing a little bit right now, but I also know that I still have some berries and I still have some smaller cedar picks to add in. So if something's looking too close, just keep that in mind too. If you have more stems to work with, the variation will come. I also like picking faux or real greens that just kind of have a nice hang to them. I feel like that also helps it look more natural. If it's a little less stiff, a little less compact, it just kind of, anytime you can like fan out or have a nice swag to things, that always kind of helps things just feel a little bit more breathable, if that makes sense. Let's stick this one in. Might just pick this up and see where I feel like any spots are missing. Honestly, I feel like that looks pretty good. So maybe right in there. That's another thing too, when you're making a wreath, if you hold it up, it kind of helps you identify the spots that, if you're struggling with placement, that really helps you identify where a good placement might be for a stem. All right, so I have most of my green in. So I'm just going to cut a little bit of my white berries. I'm curious if anybody watching has actually made a wreath before. They're actually quite simple. I was always intimidated at first, thinking that wreaths were very intricate or you had to have all of these materials to make them. But the more wreaths I have made, the more easy I have seen that they kind of can throw together a little quickly, which is great. There we go. All right, so for my white berries, I'm literally just going to spread these out through this, and then I'll probably add one more big chunk of cedar right in the middle, just to really emphasize that this is a winter wreath. And you could use any color berries if you wanted. Holly berries are really pretty. Some red ones. I've used even like a really deep navy blue before, and then also juniper berries, which are kind of like a frosted gray. Those are also any type of seasonal berry, just helps really reinforce the season of the wreath that you're making. And I'm just kind of manipulating the wire as it goes in. I mean, it's all kind of concealed underneath, so I'm not too worried about it showing. Another benefit to grapevine wreaths. Okay. I'm just going to finish off with some of these just smaller picks of cedar, just to really kind of add some fullness, even kind of on the sides a little bit, any spot that feels kind of bare to me. And again, these are really great too, because I can bend all the way to the end of the branch. So that really helps it look natural. Doing good on questions? I apologize, my computer froze, so I can't see anything that anybody's saying, but I hope you guys are enjoying this. Like I said, if I missed your question, I will definitely come back and take a look and go through them after we are live.
Everybody's saying that they're beautiful.
Thanks, guys. It's hard to believe that we are already getting close to the winter months. I can't believe how fast this year has gone by. Okay, so you know that I like simple, maybe a little bit minimalistic, if you will. I had a couple thoughts for ways that you could emphasize if you like a little bit more glitter, or even if you wanted to like make it feel a little bit more festive for the holidays and then easily remove. So I'm going to hang this on a wreath hanger just as is. But you could always tie a beautiful wreath in the color of your choice, or a color that coordinates with maybe the berries or some of the greenery that you use in your wreath. And then another option too is, and I know we've all seen them, is those really pretty shimmery picks that they bring out during the holidays too. Those you could always easily add in at the end. And then once Christmas is over, just quickly pick them out. And then you still just have a beautiful wreath that you can hang on your front door all winter long. I feel like I like to overemphasize the green because in the winter months, we have no green. There's a lot of white in the snow. So I think just those winter greens really help add life back into your space. Let's see. Maybe one more right here. I think we're going to call it a day. And that is it. Really simple, really easy, but a beautiful faux asymmetrical wreath. And honestly, you can hang this either this way. This is typically the way that I hang them. You could hang them this way. I've seen a lot of people do that. And if I was going to hang it this way, I might just cluster more of my berries in the center to come out to really identify kind of like the bottom center of the wreath. But there really isn't a wrong way to do this. I think that's why these are my favorite. Sometimes, I should say this is my favorite style wreath to make, because sometimes when I've made other wreaths that go the whole way around, I get stuck. Or I should say I've gotten stuck on where my start is and where my finish is and how it's going to all connect. And this just gives me a really good stopping point, because I'm going to start on both ends and all of my greens are just going to kind of tuck in and meet in the middle. So now for the fun part, which I'm so excited for. So because A Floral sponsored this event, I thought it would be super fun to give this wreath away. That's right. So one of you who are viewing right now can actually enter to win for the chance to get this wreath just in time for the holidays, which I think is so fun, because then you don't have to make one. It's done for you. So to enter the giveaway, in order to get for a chance to win this wreath, you want to go to designsforrent.com. There you will see a sign up incentive to enter the giveaway. This is also going to be the new online course website, so you can take a peek around. We have an online course that we are currently building to come out next year, early next year, that I'm super pumped for. Of course, I'll be sharing more details about that as we get closer, but for now, I just thought it would be fun for somebody to win this wreath. So you want to head to designsforrent.com. And even if you signed up at last month's event for the pumpkin tutorial, you do want to sign up in this one. It's a completely different form. I promise you will not get spammed. This is just strictly to collect entries. It was the only way we could think of to keep everything clean. So you definitely want to make sure that you head there. You just plug in your email address and that's it. And then that's all you need to do to enter the giveaway. So I can't wait to see who wins. And if you enjoyed this, we actually already have next month's live workshop scheduled. It's on Saturday, November 20th at 10 a.m. So we wanted to pick a Saturday this time because we understand that weeknights aren't always the best for people. And I know depending on where you are in the country and what time zone you're in, sometimes evenings aren't always the best either. So I thought it would be fun for our next holiday workshop to do it on a Saturday morning. So I hope you can join me. Set your reminders, mark it on your calendar, Saturday, November 20th at 10 a.m. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, guys. I hope you enjoyed just kind of seeing this demonstration and how I put a wreath together. I love being able to do these live workshops with you, and I'm so glad you're here. So thank you so much, and stay tuned for next time. Bye.